to welcome Dr. Katie to my studio, Malloy Master Tracks, where I make the rock and sometimes country. Today we're going to be talking about nutrition, which is something very close to my heart, something I've been into since I was about 18 years old. And met Dr. Katie about 3 years ago, and I'm a huge fan of what he's doing. He is a psychiatrist, and he has a Katie Wellness Institute?
Yes, and we do more than just psychiatry there. We see people that come in with mental health issues, or they think they're mental health issues, and they're actually biological, medical issues. So we rebuild people from the ground up. We don't just use psychiatric medication.
That's why
we're holistic.
That's why I'm such a fan. So today we're going to talk about the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
And hemp, and why it's so powerful and good for you. Right? So the first question is, tell me about the science in a nutshell of
the science in a nutshell for hemp and the recent interest in CBD and hemp oil is that the endocannabinoid system has only been published in about the last 20 years. It's a fairly new discovery. And the concept of an endocannabinoid system, and an endocannabinoid, Mitch, is the cannabinoids inside your body that you make. So when people say, oh, I don't want those cannabinoids, well, that's too bad because you've already got them inside your body. So the system for the endocannabinoids has been much better characterized, and I believe in 2002, the first paper on the endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome came out. In other words, some of us have a deficiency in our endocannabinoid system, and where there's a deficiency, there is an option for treatment and natural replacement.
And that's where hemp comes in.
And that's where hemp comes in, because hemp, like marijuana, has phytocannabinoids in it. The problem with marijuana, usually in conservative medical practice, is that THC component, which is the psychoactive hallucinogenic component. And also marijuana, conventional marijuana, can have a chronic, it's called amotivational effect on people, where it just flattens you out and sucks the motivation right out of your body, and your life goes nowhere. So that's marijuana.
Right.
Hemp, and looking at CBD oils and the cannabinoid receptors in the body, these products, these natural substances, bind to the cannabinoid receptors just like your endocannabinoids bind to the cannabinoid receptors. So anandamide is one of the endocannabinoids in our system. The word comes from bliss in Sanskrit. That's where that's anandamide, bliss.
Wow.
And that it actually does contribute to bliss. It's an endogenous cannabinoid that has psychoactive and balancing properties. And you have it, and I have it, and everybody here that's going to be watching has an endocannabinoid system.
Right, and that's why, because I've been taking the hemp, so that's why I feel I'm just happier, and it seems like, I mean, not like high,
right,
but just in a better mood. Yes?
Well, Mitch, I've known you for a few years.
I'm always in a good mood.
Every time I've seen you, you're in a good mood. But I understand that you've had some improvement in breathing, which is new. That is new.
Yes, and powerful, because we need to breathe. Yeah, kind of important.
Yep.
Yeah, the hemp actually did that for me, and I did not see that coming at all. I think the third dose I could breathe. I haven't been able to breathe since I lived in Nashville.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can't breathe for 20 years, and then suddenly you can.
Right.
You stop looking for homes elsewhere.
Right. Can we talk a little bit, speaking about breathing and you, can we talk a little bit about where we are right here?
Sure.
Because I want to tell the people that are watching this really how I met you. It was at a natural health seminar.
Yes.
And
You're the keynote speaker.
yes, yes, and
star.
and I was told there is a rock star here, and I wasn't sure that I believed it. But when I saw you, I thought, well, he kind of looks like a rock star. So then we got to talking, and I found out about your music, and I went. I'm a groupie now, Mitch. I downloaded your albums from the iTunes store, and in fact was listening to one of them when I drove in yesterday. So and my background before medicine was as a musician, but I was a pianist. So to me, air was not so much of an issue as long as I could breathe. But you're a singer, and air is critical for you. And
Yes.
What I heard on your tracks and what you've created here, you've got to be able to breathe, and you've got to be able to get that air in to do what you do. And I am thrilled that this product has helped you. I just got to tell you that.
Thank you. Well, that brings something to mind, and most people don't know this, but on my new record, I have a song called "Speak of the Devil," and at the end of that song, I hold a note really, really long, and I actually passed out singing. I was on the floor.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think 20 years ago or 10 years ago even I would have done that, but I think because of my disease, my esophagus disease, I can't get, I don't have the air that I used to have. So the note sounds fine on the record, but it's very rock and roll that I passed out. Maybe I don't know, you know what I mean. But what is the name? I can never remember the name of my disease.
It's called eosinophilic esophagitis, and what that means is
It's a mouthful.
your eosinophils are a type of white blood cell that are upregulated, typically with allergies and parasites. But they can also be upregulated in an immune or inflammatory process. And so when I was at Mayo, when I was doing my residency, there was this epidemic of what was called eosinophilic myositis. And that's where eosinophils would invade the muscle, not because the muscle was having an allergic reaction or it had parasites, but it was just an immune-mediated reaction. And so esophagitis means an inflammation of the esophagus. And so putting them together, it means you've got too many eosinophils, or you've had too many eosinophils in your esophagus, causing inflammation.
Wow.
By the way, if I can do a drive-by shrink on you,
Please do.
don't say that you have. Do not claim having an esophageal disease. I think a more accurate statement would be you've had one. The jury's out on what's going to happen in the future, but there are all kinds of nutraceutical interventions and the hemp that you've already had benefit from, that you may get past this. It may regress.
I'm getting past it.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that,
Yeah.
because I think one of the reasons that I don't really bother to learn the name is because I just don't want to give it that much power.
Good.
Yeah, because I think that's really a thing. I think if you speak something, like you're saying, it gives it power. And, I've obviously, when I was diagnosed, they tried the steroid therapy and some other therapy, I forget. And they took my voice away.
Yeah.
The treatments made it so I sounded just like this, which is not good for my profession.
No, it's not.
Right? So the doctors were like, go off of that, and so I did, and nothing really has helped until the hemp. And it's, like I said, I didn't see it coming. I was like, it wasn't like, I'm going to take this hemp to get rid of this.
Right.
Yeah, I just knew that hemp was a powerful thing, and that it was something I wanted to try.
Right.
And
that actually speaks to the type of response that some people have with these products, the Hemp 7 and the Ultracell. And that is, you're really not sure. I, as a practitioner, am really not sure what's going to happen when I give it to a patient. I think I know. I'm I'm reasonably sure it's not going to hurt them. There's nothing in the literature that would suggest that it would hurt them.
Right.
But in terms of inflammation, I don't know if it's going to take care of that. I don't know if their sleep is going to get better. I don't know if their appetite is going to stabilize. I don't know if their migraines are going to get better, their fibromyalgia. It's amazing because this endocannabinoid system in the body controls lots of different things. And so you never know just truly what benefits you're going to get. I think there are times and conditions where it's appropriate to consider, like fibromyalgia, where people ache all over their body for no known medical reason. Very reasonable to consider these products with that. Migraines. I just put one of my colleagues, an MD in Evansville, on Ultracell. I was researching this on Thursday night, and I thought, migraines, I got to get him on it. And so I actually called him up and said, come by my office and pick up a sample. So he is on it this weekend. And I'm hoping he has as dramatic an experience as you did, like 3 days his migraines are gone. That is my target market, if you will. That's my self-selected patient population. They come to see me after they haven't gotten better anywhere else.
Because it's so elusive.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, that would be absolutely sort of miraculous, you know?
Yeah.
Like this, what's happening with me is miraculous. The fact that I can breathe again.
Yep.
I mean, really, we were going to leave Nashville.
Yep. I'm ready for your next album.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen. We're planning a record for 2019.
Great.
For next year, yeah.
Great.
So, maybe you can play on it.
Okay.
Next, I'd like to hear about the CBD oil versus the full spectrum hemp oil. What's the difference?
Absolutely. So, full spectrum hemp oil is where hemp is grown. The Zilis products actually are sourced organically. So it's not all necessarily grown organically. These products are. And not only is the CBD, the cannabidiol component extracted, but the nutrients, the terpenes, the phytonutrients, and it's called full spectrum hemp because it's not just CBD, it's everything that's good for you out of the hemp plant.
Okay.
For the cheap stuff that has a huge profit margin and a huge markup that you can get at many conventional health food stores,
right.
you can harvest hemp, or hemp can be harvested. The CBD can be extracted. It can be tossed into some coconut oil, and there you go. There's the CBD oil. And it is truth in advertising. It is CBD oil. But the only thing that's in there is CBD, not the other phytonutrients that you get from full spectrum hemp. And that's one of the differences between this product and the competition out there on the marketplace.
Right, because the hemp actually is a different plant from the marijuana?
Yes. It's cannabis is the
different plant.
Yes, I've actually had patients that have grown cannabis in their closet at home. It's one of the things, and they smoked it.
Yeah,
and it made them psychotic. I'll never forget this guy. But that is the cannabis plant. This is the hemp plant. Hemp has been used for thousands of years. It's been used in medicine from ancient times. It was actually fully legal in this country until 1937, when there was a prohibition against it. It's still used in rope, but
right. Yeah.
But many natural products are still made out of it. But now it's legal.
Yeah, it's in my soap.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of infiltrated its way into
right. Marijuana and THC not legal.
No,
but hemp legal. Yes.
Yeah. So why was it? Well, that maybe doesn't matter, but. Why was hemp illegal? Because
There was one guy on an FDA committee or some federal committee that voted against it. It's one guy that turned it. It was in 1937.
Wow, in 1937.
And that is beginning.
Tainted it.
It tainted it.
Yeah. Interesting how that could happen. Mistake, seems like.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell me about this Zilis product.
Okay.
I mean, why this product, and And from what I'm hearing, this product is unique, and it's 94% absorbable, right?
Correct.
So how I understand that our bodies are water and they can't really absorb oil very well because oil and water. So it's an actual oil, but it's also water soluble.
Well,
So how does that
it is. It is when Zilis gets finished with it. So
Gotcha,
let's go back to the stuff that you can get at the typical stuff you can get at the health food store versus this.
Right.
The CBD oil just basically says there's CBD and it's in oil. That's it.
Right.
So I want to get back to what you were talking about, oil and water not mixing.
Yeah.
And the analogy that I always enjoy using, and in fact I used it last night here in Nashville, is making pasta.
It's a beautiful analogy.
And most people, even me, have made pasta. And so ordinarily, if you want your pasta to stick together, you put some oil in the water. And if you do that before you put the pasta in, if you're scientifically curious and you look in the pot, you see these globs of oil globbing together. And the reason is oil likes to associate with oil. It doesn't like to associate with water. There are chemical reasons for that, but we'll just leave it like that.
Right.
So hemp oil is just like those globs that are in your pot with the water. They're globbed together. That's the reason why when people will take conventional CBD oil, they'll take it. They may not feel anything for an hour or two because it is not getting absorbed.
Right.
The Zilis products use something called micellar technology, which is where all the hemp, the lipid soluble molecules, the fat soluble molecules, are inside these little globules, and on the outside are so-called hydrophilic components, which like to associate with water. So when you do that, they spread out in the solution, and they're much more absorbable.
Brilliant.
So one of the things that I have done, and I may be jumping ahead of your question, but one of the things I've done in my practice is I will actually dose it in session. Now, mind you, so far I haven't dosed it for depression or anxiety in session, but for pain, I have. And usually I get something back in about 15 to 20 minutes. And this is consistent with what the studies of the blood level show, that when you take these products, the blood level comes up so fast that in 15 minutes you have absorbed 50% of it.
Wow.
And then it comes all the way up to 45 minutes, and then it tracks over. If you're looking at the graph, it tracks over, according to the most recent study, to 11 or 12 hours before really we know what happens. At that point, no more can be said. All we can say is 11 to 12 hours, it's going over like that. For all we know, it may continue 13, 14, 15 hours. I would like to see another study done that will actually take it out 24 hours.
Let's do one.
But for okay, Mitch, you get the lab and I'll do the study. But seriously, for people that have severe issues, and this is a clue for doctors and healthcare professionals that want to dose this. There are some people that conservatively may need to be dosed twice a day every 12 hours. The company doesn't say that. Nobody can say really what the optimal dosing is. The recommended dosing is 1 ml under the tongue, held for 1 minute. Because it costs money to get this, and because I like to have my patients save money, and because I like to have them get the best possible effect, I started telling them 2 minutes. Hold it under their tongue 2 minutes. Because then you get more time for the absorption through the buccal mucosa and underneath the tongue, and you may get a slightly better level.
Wow. So 2 minutes, so longer is better there.
Longer is better. Yeah. I think longer is better. I think
Good to know.
I think common sense would suggest that longer would be better.
So 3 minutes is better than 2 minutes, or is there a cutoff, or we don't know yet?
Don't know. The
Okay.
study hasn't been done. It cannot
Okay.
be said.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about how you researched this and why you got interested.
That's a great question. I had a friend of mine who's a nurse that came by and said, "You should take a look at this." I said, "Okay." This woman has been a business partner with me in several other things, and I thought that if her name's Lisa, if Lisa is interested in this, I'll take a look at it. So I did what I always do when I'm researching something in medicine, and I went to pubmed.gov, and reminds me of that old quip about the guy that says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. But this site is a really good site, pubmed.gov, and it is a index of the entire world's peer-reviewed, published medical information.
Wow.
So if you want to know something about it, and for your viewers, I would suggest go to pubmed.gov yourself and satisfy yourself. So what I did, I typed in endocannabinoid system, found a lot of references. And then I wondered about an endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. Type that in. Lo and behold, you can have deficiencies in your endocannabinoids. I mentioned that earlier in the interview. And so then I began looking at endocannabinoid system, and then I started putting in disease states. Endocannabinoid system, ADHD. Endocannabinoid system, fibromyalgia. Endocannabinoid system, migraines. And I got a lot of hits.
Wow.
I got a lot of references that came back to me, suggesting that modulating the endocannabinoid system, if you have an endogenous endocannabinoid deficiency, may support your body as it deals with such issues as inflammation and pain. I want to be very, very clear that this supplement is not a treatment for any medical condition. Many of us take vitamins and antioxidants. Those are not treatments for or a prevention for medical conditions. There is evidence in the literature that the higher your antioxidant level, basically the longer you're going to live. The higher your antioxidant level, the less likely you are to drop over prematurely. So, but you can't say take antioxidants and live longer.
Right.
No, nobody can say that.
It's more like an immunity booster. Or
There's evidence that it is.
Right.
So similarly with Zilis and the Hemp 7 and the Ultracell products, these are to support the structure and function of the body, to help the baseline health of the body. And if there is an endocannabinoid system deficiency, it should replace or modify or help or massage it in some way.
doesn't it seem like everybody has that deficiency? Somewhat?
Well,
in some way?
There are people out there that do not have breathing problems, fibro,
right.
migraines,
Sure.
headaches, pain, ADHD. They don't have ADHD. They don't have anxiety. They don't have depression.
So not everybody.
They're happy campers and alive and well.
Right.
So this is not a panacea. It's not something like, oh, you should take this to support your body if there's nothing that you can see. On the other hand, this is interesting. Perhaps you could say, well, I don't know if you'll see anything with this. But, you, Mitch, have seen this. No telling what you'd see. Why don't you try a small bottle and then see? And maybe you will get back from them, I never really realized this, but I've had back pain and it's improved.
Right.
So sometimes, even though there is not, as we docs would call it, a presenting complaint, a chief issue, a chief presenting, even though they say, I'm really not having anything, there might be something that they're not aware of because they've just gotten used to it.
Right. So there's still an improvement, potential improvement, even if somebody isn't have a major complaint about something.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's helped actually things, I never anticipated it to help what it helped.
Right.
But it's also helped my ease of movement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit younger seeming,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't groan as much when I bend over, things like that,
Great.
So, I've had several benefits from it. even the mood thing, even though you don't believe it. So if somebody has tried CBD oil and had they were like, I didn't really feel, because I hear that a lot from people. I didn't really feel anything. Should they try this?
Yes, and here's why. As we've talked about before today, CBD oil, what you can say is it's got CBD in it, cannabidiol.
Right.
That's it. You can't. Nothing else can be concluded. With the Zilis products, you have the full spectrum hemp, so you have other things in it besides CBD. So that in and of it,
it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Right.
It's like saying broccoli, organic chicken, and green tea is a meal. Also, macaroni and cheese could be a meal. They're both meals.
Yeah.
They both have calories.
Sounds like our house.
But it's not the same.
Right.
So the second reason that this product should be considered is the micellar technology, where
it's unique.
It's unique, it's more absorbable, it works faster, and it appears to last longer.
Wow.
So those are reasons to consider this product.
Right, and I'm assuming you've had results, otherwise you wouldn't be talking about this.
I have. I've had some really interesting results. One patient, the first time I used it in a patient, it was a gentleman that had anxiety disorder, and he also has frontotemporal dementia, but it's mild right now. And he had tried CBD oil from a local health food store. And I asked him if he actually asked me, "What do you know about CBD oil?" And I said, "Well, what has you asking?" It's always a great strength question. What has you asking that question? So, what has you asking that? And he said, "Well, I've tried it. It didn't do much for me." I said, okay, well, why don't you try this? And so I had him hold it under his tongue for a minute. That was before I started doubling it.
2 minutes.
Hold it under the tongue for a minute. And then we continued in his 45-minute session. And in about 15 minutes, I checked in with him and said, "Do you feel any different?" He said, "Well, I feel a little calmer." He said, "And the other thing is, this stuff tastes good. That other stuff tastes terrible."
Right.
And
yeah.
I haven't tried the other CBD oil, but I understand it's kind of like a mixture of grass and dung together. So I don't want to try it.
Right.
But he commented about that, and so that was an interesting experience. Another patient has had chronic body pain, just all over. I hesitate to diagnose it as fibromyalgia, but that's probably what it is.
Right.
And chronically in pain, can't get up, can't get moving. I mean, she gets to her appointments, but she is not fully functional at home.
Right.
And so I dosed her in session. And she said, "Well, maybe I'm feeling a little bit better." I said, "Okay, well, take it home, see what you think." So I didn't hear anything from her for a few days, and so I called her to see what was going on. And I said, "How's your pain?" She said, "When I got home, I went out to my yard and I raked 8 bags of leaves." Said, I would never have been able to do that before.
Yeah.
So those are some cases that I've had. I'm waiting to hear how my doc friend with migraines is going to be doing on it, and I'm using it in several of my other patients too. I'm beginning to use it more in my practice.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, speaking to that, day 2, I took the family out for a walk in the park.
Wow.
And I haven't done that in years, literally.
That's fantastic.
Like it almost never happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, same for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the study? I mean, you're obviously massively into research and studies, and I know that there are a lot of studies, but it seems like it's really taking off. I mean, people
Right.
are really studying it.
Yeah, there are, I believe, over 4,000 studies right now published on the endocannabinoid system. So all you have to do is go to pubmed.gov, type in endocannabinoid system,
Right.
click enter, and it'll show you the total number of studies. And for your viewers that might be really interested in this, if you look at the page very carefully, there's a little graph up in the top right of the page, and it will show the number of studies published per year. And you know that it's a hot topic if you can see the number of studies published per year going up.
I see.
So you can see it on endocannabinoid system, endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. I mean, it's there in the literature. Anybody can read it.
So this is a hot topic and a hot product. Seems like it's really gaining a lot of momentum. Yeah.
Right. From last month to this month, there are 27 new papers published. So it's about a paper a day. This is a hot area of
So
research.
patients are asking, yes?
Patients are asking, yes. Researchers are getting more interested in it.
Okay.
Yes, it's attaining more respectability, and so more people are researching it.
I'd like to thank Dr. Louis Cady for coming in. He is the founder and owner of the Cady Wellness Institute.
Thank you, Mitch. It's been great to be here.